What sets us aside from a discount brokerage?
That's a great question. We're going to get asked that a lot nowadays. I think a lot of what sets our team apart, myself apart, is that we are full service, right? We handle everything from the initial introduction all the way through closing and everything in between, where it's active activities on the list side, right? We can talk about listing. It's listing preparation. It's meeting with the stager. It's photos, it's videos, it's marketing, it's actively communicating about your property. And then you go into the legal side of things, it's managing the paperwork, because these are legal contracts that make a difference in the world, right? I mean, if we mess up on a contract, it could cost someone a house. And so trusting an agent who has the experience and who's full service to handle that. And on top of that, we surround ourselves with people that if something comes up, or to ensure a smooth transaction, right? We look at our title people, our closers, making sure that Callie from Burnett Title has the paperwork so that the house closes on time, and if we need to have some paint scraped on the outside of a house, we have numbers of people in our pocket. And then you get to the fun part of actually selling the house, right? This is all prior to selling the house, and we're the ones that are going to be advising our clients on how to negotiate. I don't think you get that with a discount brokerage. I think you get someone who's going to list it on the MLS and then maybe call you back.
Yeah.
We'll call you back. I mean, that's for damn certain. We'll call you back. But I think that's where we're going to start seeing the difference between the discount and the full service. I think that's going to kind of be the big thing.
I mean, specifically with marketing and marketing material, what do discount brokerages do that we do better?
I don't think they do anything. I think that's kind of the issue with, I don't think people fully understand. I think lots of times people think that when we say we market it, we just put it on the MLS, right? I mean, we do so much more than that, whether it's paid advertisements through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, whether it's flyers, whether it's even our monthly mailers or email campaigns, right? I mean, I have clients from 10 years of doing this and friends and family that get the ding in their inbox of a new house in Rochester on the market listed by Alex, right? Eric's got a brand new one coming on in Maple Grove. Take a look at it. And the name of the game in real estate has always been exposure, right? If you can expose it to as many people as possible, you never know who's going to all of a sudden be like, maybe I do want to live in Rochester. Maybe I want to make that move. And so I've always considered it active marketing versus passive marketing, right? We're doing things to actively sell this house via marketing.
Also, I mean, the agents in our office, I think, is a huge differentiator from other groups. I mean, I feel like every time we have a team meeting on Tuesday morning, there are tons of people who know of buyers who are looking in your area. So I feel like that's something that's really hard to sell verbally as marketing, but is a huge strength of our office.
Yeah, and how many listings have you seen on the MLS where there's 6 or 7 photos taken on an iPhone with a 2-sentence listing description, and that's just not going to sell. It's going to sit there for a month.
Right.
Yeah, I think the quality of our marketing too, being able to recommend reputable like photographers, getting high quality photos,
videos,
doing more than just the photos, getting the videos, the twilight shots. I mean, being out there at the property, actively showing people, I think is, a step above and beyond what a lot of the discount brokers do.
It's funny. I just went through that with my postcards that I do to my sphere. I had done one provider, but every single one was coming out with a big streak in the middle from it getting printed off or whatever. And so I went and talked to the people in our office and I was like, who's using who to send out postcards? And I found a cheaper one, better quality, and they go out quicker just by talking to the agents in our office.
Exactly. It's just about displaying the home in the best light possible, and that's kind of what it comes down to.
And I think one of the big things that our team does really well, and a lot of people do, but we know the home, right? Discount brokers, I laugh. Sometimes I don't think they go through the house. Yeah. I've shown them and I've called the property or called the listing agent, but hey, that furnace looks old. What can you tell me about it? They're like, I was like, awesome. Thanks for that information. That makes my clients feel real good about this process. When we sold Fairview, I had people call me being like, hey, little confused. It's a boiler system, but there's a mini split in the living room. I was like, yeah, they have supplemental, little extra AC. They actually have AC on the main, doesn't reach upstairs. And it's just that intimate knowledge of the house that you don't get with a discount brokerage. And in my opinion, right, 10 years, been doing this a lot. In my opinion, there's just no reason to take that risk when selling your house.
Exactly.
Right? Like where so many things can go wrong. And if you don't have that experience and you just go discount to save a few bucks, and I'm sure the numbers are out there where
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna
like,
say.
it's gotta be, right? Where it's like, okay, so if you go discount, it sells for X, you use a full service, good experienced agent, how much more you make because you're using a full service agent.
Our goal as agents is to make more than the 3% commission that we charge.
Oh, yeah.
That is our goal.
And I mean, especially in today's market where it's navigating multiple offers
Yeah.
and things like that, if you can, and man, I've said this so many times, and even we've been sitting here doing this, right? If you can price that house appropriately and present it well, you're going to blow through any expectations in terms of multiple offers, well over list price, well over probably what it should be selling for.
Yep.
And that's because you have an agent that's doing the correct things in the correct order to present that house in the best light.
Exactly.
And I got pushback the other day from some sellers of mine. Like, we ask people to do things. Rochester, didn't you have Maggie?
Plumbing, painting,
Right.
new carpet.
We make our clients, we ask our clients, can't make them, we ask our clients to do things to present their house in the best light. Even like cleaning or organizing toys or whatever the case is.
Decluttering and depersonalization. That's what it's all about.
Oh my God. And you walk into some houses and you're like, I can't see the floor. There's dog toys
I was
everywhere.
going to say you got a dog bowl and half eaten. It's like, no.
No, I think, I mean, that's the big difference between the discount and the full service.
Definitely. I think we've done a great job touching on our value proposition to sellers.
Yeah.
How about the buy side of the transaction? What are we able to offer to buyers?
That sets us aside, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just overall as a whole team, I mean, being able to use each other, our office, and then having a team around us of great lenders, inspection companies, you know, just being available as a whole group to get out there. And I mean, if we're not able to get out to showings, we have each other cover our showings all the time.
Open
houses,
taking people,
It's part of my sales pitch now when I sit down and do my buyer consultation, right? I have a team. I have kids that get sick, I go on vacation.
Yep.
But I have a team that if I can't, they're covering for me,
Exactly.
right? I mean, that's part of it. It's a huge, and I talked to somebody about this, maybe it was you, maybe it was Angela, that it almost feels like a disservice what I was doing prior to my team, because there were moments when I had to really scramble to find people to cover for me, and I didn't necessarily know these people, right? Like, I think all of you have my MLS login. I don't know if that's legal, but all of you have access to it, right? Because I trust you guys to do it. So, and I think on the buy side, the experience, whether it's like personal experience or if I have a question about like, hey, Eric, you are significantly handier than I am. If they wanted to update this flooring, give me an idea of cost. Could it be done even kind of conversations? And when you're going through that process of walking through a house and we love this house, but how much does it cost to put in a 2-car garage? And you're like, well, depending on the size, somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000 if you want the bells and whistles or not. Service provided to them.
Especially in this aggressive market, you find the house. When you get to writing an offer, that's another place that we can offer value in. Being able to talk to the listing agent and kind of see what the seller's preferences are,
oh my God,
and knowing how to tailor an offer around that is really, really valuable. And that you don't really get with those discount brokerages sometimes.
It's amazing to me the number of buyers agents who do not call listing agents to talk to them. Like, how do you not pick up the phone real quick and be like, hey, what's important to your sellers?
Yeah.
Right?
When do you want to close, right?
We had Fairview and I got an offer, like in the descriptions, seller needs long closing date. Yeah. And we got one of those, and I also hate it because you get an offer in your inbox and you're like, I didn't know we had an offer here. No one told me I was getting an offer.
Yeah.
But you look at it like closing in 21 days. You're like, we don't want that.
Read the room.
Right. Exactly.
Call me. Introduce yourself.
Take 3 minutes and
figure it out. Oh my God, it blows my mind.
Yeah. I do worry that if a buyer is unrepresented, that they are not getting the best for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I have a current client right now that if the tables had turned and she was not represented by somebody, that it would be a very different game and really hard for her to navigate. So even like navigating the process for a buyer, granted, there are obviously easier deals than not, but there are some deals that are very complicated and new to us, right? Every deal that we've done is probably you find out something new, you learn something new that you didn't know before. So
yeah, it's unique. Everyone's different. You always learn something from it. And I think it's true. And I think a lot of times if that person doesn't have buyer's representation and they're running to that listing agent to try to work with them, while dual agency is legal in the state of Minnesota, you are totally allowed to do that. I think it handcuffs both parties, right? Because that agent's technically not supposed to talk about price, terms, motivation, but...
Well, the listing agent's just doing their job. They signed a contract. They are representing the seller and their best interests.
And now they're going to try to represent that buyer after knowing everything about the seller. How do you go back and forth between those two parties? I mean, we had this on Cleveland where someone wanted me to represent the buyer, and I was like, not going to do it. Here's Eric's phone number. Eric can represent them on this transaction. I can't do it, and I know a ton of people do it, and good for them. And our team's allowed to. You guys can do it if you want. I just struggle with it personally because I don't think I can do it fairly.
It's also the biggest purchase you're probably going to make in your life.
Yeah.
So trying to save a buck is going to bite you. Yeah.
The wrong choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think writing an offer is so much more than just picking out a price and, putting that on the paper. I think between all of our cumulative knowledge and, just kind of seeing what homes are selling for, seeing, if there's 1 or 2 offers on the property, how's that going to differ from a property that has 10 offers? How aggressive do we have to get? Can we get creative in our contract somewhere else? That kind of gives us that edge. And I think just kind of having all that cumulative knowledge to put our buyers in the best position to get their offer accepted is huge.
Well, you were talking about the either the pass-fail inspection or the 5-point inspection. I'd never done that stuff before.
Yeah, so I mean, inspection's a big one. We're seeing a lot of offers getting won by waived inspection, and that's something I would just never recommend openly to a buyer. I mean, if that's something that they're completely comfortable with, sure. But then we have to look at how can we get creative so we're still protecting our buyers, but also still give them a chance at the property. So doing things like a 5-point inspection or a pass-fail, you might have to give up some of your negotiating leverage there, but you're still understanding what you're getting into, and you have a full understanding of it.
And just communicating that with your buyer, having an open and honest conversation about that, I think is what's important there.
Yeah, I think communication is one of the biggest things that our team is great at too. I mean, to some fault, I mean, my phone's available 24/7, and sometimes it can be exhausting. But even if I'm not able to get back to a buyer, I'm at least letting them know, hey, I can't get back to you. I'll get back to you at this time.
Call you back in 15.
And then just being able to communicate, all the different options, laying them out for them. We're not telling them what they have to do. We're letting them know, here's option A, B, and C.
We're advising. Real estate advisors.
I was gonna say, I submitted an offer at 11:30 at night last Sunday.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to get that from a discount brokerage. You're really not. And kind of going back to
you're not going to get that from some full service
agent. Right. You got a point.
Max is in bed by 10 p.m. just in case you're wondering.
I was on the phone
9
for a while.
p.m. By the way. All of you have texted me after 9 and be like, why is he not responding?
Not going to happen.
I'm like, it goes right to Eric.
SOS.
Sorry.
I am
You not the service turned on.
He blocks us.
Right? Going back to that, inspection piece.
You.
That's why it's important to partner with, good companies like Marigold Home Inspections.
Yeah.
You can feel confident writing a 3-day inspection, and that they're going to be able to go out and take a look at it. And once again, that's just, a tool in our kit that we can use to provide more value. So.
I started CCing Blake, who's one of the higher ups at Marigold, on my offers. So I'd submit it with him CC'd on there and my closer and the lender being like, he agrees we can do a 3-day inspection. My closer agrees she can close this in 21 days. The lender says, yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Like they're on that email thread, and I have a little group message with them like, I did it again, heads up, like offer coming. You don't need to say anything.
Within 10 minutes, you have everyone replying to the email. It's like,
we're good, we're good. And it's like, how does that not give a seller just extra confidence in you?
Yeah, and I think just playing off the inspection, I kind of mentioned before, just having a whole team around you. I mean, we have plenty of lenders that we can recommend out, and we've worked with these lenders, tried and true, and we know the communication's there. We know a lot of these lenders can do quick closes. Obviously buyers are free to use whichever lender and inspection company they want, but we have a team around us that we've already
vetted out.
Exactly, vetted out.
Deals with, I mean, going back to that, you have everyone responding to that email. Now compare that to the person that never even called the listing agent to, write an offer.
Right.
It just showed up in the inbox. Hey, here's an offer attached.
Right.
Still,
I do that.
Who do you have more confidence in?
I always feel bad too because like they send it over at like noon, and I look at it at 3 p.m. and I was like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
You should have texted me telling me you were sending an offer.
So what's something that discount brokerages do to entice people to go with them, and what should my buyers or my sellers be aware of?
It's a good question. The simple answer is that they're reducing commissions, right? And they phrase it as a reduction in commission, not a reduction in service.
It's a quality or quantity over quality sort of a business model.
It really is. And we'll probably piss off some people with this, but he's right. They need to have far more transactions to achieve the level that they would if they were full service in terms of financial goals, right?
Right.
And so they're okay with cell phone photos. They're okay with more responsibility on the seller for negotiating their own stuff. They're okay with maybe not necessarily knowing there's a city inspection that has to be done prior to closing. They might be okay with telling their clients, I guess I don't know a painter. I don't know what I would
Google.
say.
I was going to say top 10 painters in this city. It's like,
yeah,
you know.
And so that's the big difference. And they just frame it as a reduction in commission versus a reduction in service, which I'm sure there are many wonderful discount brokers. And I have that conversation when I sit down with sellers of, I'm full service, I get paid full commission. This is why. If this isn't what you're looking for, great. There are plenty of discount brokerages. I'm happy to make a connection for you.
Yep.
You're gonna pay for it. And it's the same stupid conversation of, all right, Eric, you're having heart surgery tomorrow. Are you gonna go with the discount surgeon who can get you in quicker and get you done faster? Or are you gonna pay for the surgeon who actually knows what they're doing and does it well? And that sounds dramatic, but it's kind of the same idea. I mean, give it to any other reality, and I always laugh at this, any other situation in the world. Alex, you're sending your kids to school. Are you gonna save $10 a day to have your kid go to the teacher who doesn't actually know the subject, and your kid's just gonna be there, but they're at school, right? They're still there. Or are you willing to maybe invest a little extra in your kid's education to maybe be able to make sure your kid can read by the time he's 10 years old?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's just no other industry that I can really think of in this world where you get that pushback on it, and it's a pretty simple conversation. It's the largest purchase you're gonna make.
Yeah.
It's the largest transaction you're gonna have. Why are we risking that? Why are we taking this to save $2,000, $4,000, whatever that number is, when clearly it's gonna get paid off in dividends on the other side?
And the benefit is in our industry is it is that black and white. You can see you save $2,000 here, but it costs you 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. You know, it's more black and white than heart surgery or getting your child to read, because there's numbers involved.
Right.
And that's the problem with the discount brokerages is it becomes a numbers game, not a people game, and it's a lot less. It's a lot less communication and a lot less personalized experience. It's a lot more, you're just a number. You're, transaction 34 of the year or something like that.
Yeah.
Versus, actually knowing the person, knowing the house, and, using that to help sell it.
It's a seller's market, right? So people are assuming they can just sell their house at a higher price point, but discount brokerages might not be as skilled in negotiating, might 100%. Not be as skilled in reaching out to a broader market, might not be as skilled in preparing your home to be sold, right? So that's another differentiator.
Or even giving you accurate information to get your house on the market at the right time, at the right price point, and positioned correctly.
Yeah, I mean, all these things come at a cost. So, everything we've touched on here, I mean, you can save a couple $1,000 up front with a discount brokerage, but in the long run, I mean, everything we've touched on here could potentially cost you a lot more money than what you're saving on the commission costs there.
100%.